Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. You don't lack clarity. You lack the courage to act on it. And I know that might hit because it's easier to believe I don't know what to do. I'm confused. I just need more time. But if you slow down for a second and actually listen to yourself, you already know. You know what doesn't feel right. You know what you've outgrown. You know what you're avoiding. You just haven't decided to act on it yet. And that's the difference. Because clarity isn't the problem. Decision is. And every time you delay that decision, you stay in the same cycle, overthinking, second guessing, waiting for certainty that never comes, and calling that confusion. But it's not confusion, it's hesitation. And hesitation keeps you stuck. Now, before we go deeper, let me ground you in what we do here. If you're new, hi, I'm Cherry. I'm a spiritual life coach, numerologist, and energy alchemist. And I help people stop overthinking, stop people pleasing, and start making decisions that actually move their life forward. Because this isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting yourself enough to act on what you already know. And April is all about energy, body, thought, the neutral mind, the part of you that cuts through all the noise and sees things clearly, not emotionally, not reactively, cleanly. And when you're in that energy, decisions don't feel complicated. They feel simple, but simple doesn't mean easy, because acting on that clarity requires courage. And that's what we're activating today. So if you've been stuck in indecision, if you've been going back and forth, if you've been waiting for the right moment, this is where that stops. And before we go deeper, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell, because this is the space where you stop thinking about change and actually start making it. All right. Let's break down why you struggle to make decisions, even when you already know what you want. Now, let's be honest about this, because most people say, I don't know what to do. But when you really slow it down, that's not actually true. You do know. You just don't like what the decision requires. Because decision isn't just about choosing something. It's about what that choice changes, what it disrupts, what it ends, what it asks of you. And that's where the hesitation comes in, because every real decision comes with something underneath it. Fear of being wrong, fear of being judged, fear of hurting someone, fear of losing something, or fear of change. And instead of naming that fear, most people call it confusion. I just need more time. I'm not sure yet. I need to think about it. But what you're actually doing is delaying the moment where you have to act. Because once you decide, you can't stay where you are. And that's what your system is resisting. Not the decision itself, but the movement that follows. Because decisions create momentum, and momentum changes things. It shifts dynamics. It creates consequences. It moves you into a version of your life that looks different. And your system likes stability, even if that stability isn't aligned. So instead of moving forward, you hover between options, between choices, between versions of yourself, telling yourself, I just need to figure it out. But you're not trying to figure it out. You're trying to avoid what comes next. And this is where Energy Body 4, the neutral mind, becomes your anchor again. Because the neutral mind doesn't get lost in fear. It sees clearly. This is the decision. This is what it requires. This is what changes. No overthinking, no spiraling, just truth. And when you see it that clearly, you realize something important. You were never stuck. You were just postponing. And once you see that, you stop waiting for clarity and start preparing to act on it. Now, this is the distinction that changes everything, because not all decisions are made the same way. There are two types: dirty decisions and clean decisions. And most people, they're trying to make decisions from a dirty place, which is why everything feels confusing. A dirty decision is when your mind is full of noise, overthinking, doubting, fearing, what ifs, other people's opinions, trying to predict every outcome. So instead of making a clear choice, you get stuck in the loop. Yes, no, maybe, wait. Trying to feel certain, trying to get it right, trying to remove all risk before you move. But here's the truth. You will never feel fully certain inside a dirty decision, because the noise never stops. Now, a clean decision is completely different. A clean decision is simple. Not easy, but simple. It sounds like, this doesn't feel right anymore. I've outgrown this. This is what I want. This is what I'm no longer available for. There's no over-explaining, no spiraling, no trying to justify it. It's just clear. And you feel that clarity in your body. It might feel calm. It might feel neutral. It might even feel uncomfortable, but it feels true. And that's the difference. Dirty decisions feel chaotic. Clean decisions feel grounded. And here's the part most people don't realize. You don't get clean decisions by thinking harder. You get there by removing the noise, by stepping out of fear, by stepping out of overanalysis, by stepping out of trying to control the outcome. And this is exactly what Energy Body 4, the neutral mind, does. It cuts through the noise. It sees this is the truth without adding layers to it, without complicating it, without making it bigger than it needs to be. And when you're in that energy, decisions don't feel overwhelming. They feel obvious, even if they're uncomfortable, even if they require courage, even if they change things. And this is where most people get stuck. They mistake discomfort for wrong. So they stay in dirty decisions because they feel safer. But safe doesn't mean aligned. And the longer you stay in that noise, the longer you stay stuck. Now, let's talk about the part everyone avoids, courage. Because most people think courage feels like confidence. Like, I'll act when I feel ready. I'll decide when I'm sure. I'll move when I feel confident about it. But that's not courage. That's waiting. Courage doesn't come after certainty. It comes before it. Courage is the moment where you say, I don't feel fully ready, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that's uncomfortable because your system wants guarantees. It wants to know this will work. This is the right decision. Nothing will go wrong, but real life doesn't give you that. So if you wait for certainty, you'll stay where you are. And this is where people get stuck. They think they're being responsible. They think they're being careful. They think they're waiting for the right time, but really they're avoiding the moment that requires courage. Because once you decide, you have to move, and movement creates change, and change creates uncertainty. And uncertainty is what your system is trying to avoid. So instead, you hover in between, not fully staying, not fully leaving, not fully choosing. And that's exhausting because you're using energy without actually moving forward. And this is where the neutral mind shifts everything again, because it doesn't wait for perfect, because it doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It sees clearly and then acts accordingly, not emotionally, not reactively, cleanly. And that's what courage actually is. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's a quiet decision. This is what I'm doing. Even if your voice shakes, even if your body feels uncomfortable, even if part of you is still unsure, because you're no longer waiting to feel ready. You're trusting yourself to handle what comes next. And that's the shift from I need to feel certain before I act to I act and then I build certainty through my actions. And that's how momentum starts. Not from perfect clarity, but from courageous movement. Now, this is where everything becomes real, because you don't make clean decisions in your mind. You feel them in your body. And right now, you already have something in your life that you've been going back and forth on, a decision you've been delaying, something you keep thinking about but haven't acted on. So bring that into your awareness. Not 10 things, just one. The one that's been sitting there. And notice what happens in your body when you think about it. Not the story, not the reasons, the feeling. Do you feel tight, heavy, restless? Just observe. Now take a slow breath in and a long breath out. Again, slow inhale, long exhale. Now we're going to cut through the noise. No overthinking, no analyzing, just truth. Ask yourself, what do I already know about this? And don't answer from your mind. Answer from your body. The first thing that comes up, it might be simple. This isn't right. I need to move on. I want this. I'm done with this. Whatever it is, let it be clear. Now notice what your mind does next. It will try to jump in. But what if? What about? Maybe I should. That's the noise. We're not following that. We're staying with the truth. Take another breath and say internally, I trust what I know. Feel that in your body. Because this is where clean decisions come from. Not logic alone, but alignment. Now ask yourself, What is one small action that aligns with this truth? Not the whole plan, just the next step. Send the message, set the boundary, make the choice, say something. Whatever it is, keep it simple. Now take another breath and say, I'm willing to act on this. Feel the shift in your body. It might feel uncomfortable. That's okay. Uncomfortable doesn't mean wrong. It means you're moving. And this is how you build trust with yourself. Not by waiting, but by following through. Now gently bring your awareness back. Feel your body. Feel your breath. Feel the space around you and just notice. You didn't need more clarity. You needed to listen because the answer was already there. And the more you practice this, the easier decisions become. Not because life gets simpler, but because you stop complicating it. Now, this is a shift that changes everything long term because you can have clarity. You can feel the truth. You can even make the decision. But if you don't back yourself, you'll still hesitate. You'll still second guess. You'll still look for reassurance. You'll still question whether you did the right thing. But that's what keeps you stuck. Not the decision itself, but what you do after it. Because most people make a decision and then immediately doubt it. They think, was that right? What if I made a mistake? Maybe I should rethink this. And that pulls them straight back into the cycle because now they're no longer moving forward. They're back in the noise. So this is where the identity shifts from I need to be sure I made the right decision to I make decisions and I back them. Feel the difference in that. It's not about being perfect. It's about being self-led. Because when your identity becomes I make clean decisions and I back myself, you stop reopening the same door. You stop renegotiating with yourself. You stop going back into the same loop because the decision has already been made. And now your job isn't to question it. It's to stand in it. And this is where most people underestimate their power because backing yourself doesn't mean you'll never feel doubt. You'll never feel discomfort. You'll never question things. Of course you will, but you don't let those feelings override your direction. You don't let them pull you backwards. You feel them. You stay. And that's what builds self-trust. Not making perfect decisions, but standing by the ones you make. And every time you do that, you reinforce the identity. You show your system, I can trust myself. I don't need external validation. I don't need to go back. And over time, that becomes your baseline. Not hesitation, not overthinking. Clarity and action. Because the version of you you're becoming doesn't wait, doesn't hover, doesn't stay stuck in indecision. They see clearly, they decide, they move. Now, just take a moment and really sit with this. Everything you've been calling confusion, everything you've been overthinking, everything you've been going back and forth on, you already knew. You just didn't trust yourself enough to act on it. And I'm not saying that to call you out for the sake of it. I'm saying it because that's where your power is. Because if the problem was that you didn't know, you'd be stuck waiting forever. But the truth is, you do know, and that means you're not stuck. You're just delaying the moment where you choose to move. And now you've seen that. You've felt that. You've experienced what a clean decision actually feels like in your body. So now the question becomes simple. Are you going to keep hovering or are you going to act? Not perfectly, not with full certainty, but with honesty. Because every time you choose to act on what you already know, you move forward. And every time you delay, you stay where you are. And I know which one you actually want. And if you're listening to this thinking, I know exactly what I need to do, but I keep hesitating because this isn't about finding answers. It's about building the courage, clarity, and self-trust to act on the ones you already have. And if you want to go even deeper, to understand your decision patterns, your cycles, and what your next level actually looks like, your Numerology Roadmap Breakthrough session will give you that clarity. The link is in the description box below. And before we go, I want you to ask yourself one final question. What decision am I avoiding that I already know is right? And this time, don't overthink it. Don't soften it, just see it. Because the moment you stop avoiding it is the moment your life starts moving. So stay close, because clarity isn't what changes your life. Action is. And you're closer than you think. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.